treasurysupply.com. Mike Davis of the Article 3 Project joins us now. Mike, I got to say, I'm loving all of these Media Matters articles going after me and you, talking about the future devastation, the most undemocratic administration that's coming in 2025. I always read them and I'm like, so your name, there's my name, there's all these names. And then I go, well, wait a minute. Aren't you guys kind of admitting that Trump's going to win then?
And I would say everything that they fear is going to come true. What are you going to be?
100%.
Are you going to be the defense secretary? I can't remember what they have you, but I want to be. I don't want to be the acting attorney general anymore. I want to be the DC viceroy for Trump,
yes.
And we will end carjackings overnight under my reign.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have thought of that, man. Now, I really wish I had thought of that one because now I can't do that. To be the DC viceroy. Look, what I've said is, look, I'm not interested in a position, but for Media Matters, since you asked the question, all I want to do, and I could do this as a volunteer. You don't even need to pay me. I don't even need a title. I just want to be the guy that hands out the pink slips. I just want to be the guy that walks around, give me the blue badge, whatever I need, and just say, you. And they say, oh, and they're going to start crying. They're going to start wailing. They say, no. What about my transgendered children? What about this? What about that? And I'll say, you know what? You should have put America first. And now you'll have much more time to spend with your children because you're not going to be around here.
Well, I want you to be the gallows master general, Jack. I think you would be very good at that. You would do it very efficiently, and you would provide a great service to our country.
What can I say? I have a list. But Mike, when we're looking at these cases, I think the big one this week, the Supreme Court coming in to pick up presidential immunity. By the way, it was just so surprising to me that you've been on here week after week saying that the Supreme Court was going to take that up, but the mainstream media, particularly MSNBC, seemed absolutely shocked and apoplectic that they would do so.
Here's what's so stupid and transparently political about the other side's argument here. Back in December, Jack Smith and the Biden Justice Department filed a petition with the Supreme Court asking for the extraordinary relief of having the Supreme Court take up the issue of presidential immunity even before the federal appellate court, the D.C. Circuit, ruled, because Jack Smith and the Biden Justice Department said presidential immunity is so important that only the Supreme Court can decide this matter. And then here we are 2 months later, after the Supreme Court said no, go to the D.C. Circuit, and Jack Smith got 2 Democrat judges and a dumb Republican judge to go along with the position. Now the Biden Justice Department and Jack Smith and all their zombies on the outside are saying, oh my gosh, how could the Supreme Court take up this case? Well, it's because Jack Smith said it was so important back in December that they had to. So now that they are, and if you think about it, Jack, why wouldn't they? Members of Congress have immunity from criminal and civil prosecution for their official acts, not their private acts, their official acts. So do federal judges. Why wouldn't the president of the United States? And if he doesn't have immunity from criminal prosecution for his official acts, I can't wait for the Trump 47 Justice Department with Gallows Master General Jack going after Obama and indicting him for capital murder for drone striking 2 American citizens, including a minor, and also going after David Barron, who was Obama's legal advisor and is now a federal appellate judge in Boston. Maybe both of them can stand trial for capital murder if presidents are not immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts.
And it really seems as simple as that. And I've said to, taking the partisan side out of it, is that it's very obvious why presidential immunity should exist. And it's also very obvious why the Supreme Court would want to take this up, because it clearly has a direct effect on the conduct, again, not just of Donald Trump, but on every president of the United States going forward. This is it's a separation of powers issue. It's an issue about again, a direct Article 2 issue of the Constitution. It beggars belief that the Supreme Court would try to get out of a ruling like this.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. Could a Republican state attorney general or DA charge Biden right now for his illegal release of dangerous migrants into our country, and they're committing murders and rapes and other violent crimes? The
answer is yes. Under that standard, the answer is yes.
Yeah. So if look, if Tish James and Fannie Willis and Alvin Bragg, these local prosecutors, can go after Trump, why couldn't the Oklahoma state attorney general or some DA in some Republican area indict Biden right now for a murder or a kidnapping or a rape from one of these migrants who Biden's illegally letting into our country?
Right. So this is an issue with federalism. And of course, it's at the very end of it, in the same way that executive privilege exists as a form of immunity, the reason being is that it strikes to the heart of why you would have an executive anyway. So, not to get all Federalist Papers on everybody, but this is why you have an executive, an executive who has the ability to take actions for the good of the country that are within the executive's remit under the Constitution. That's why we have one in the first place. If you want to strip away all those powers, then you might as well just shred. I could just walk over to the National Archive and shred Article 2 because you wouldn't even have it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, here's the question you have to ask. Can a private citizen order the D.C. National Guard to put down a riot at the Capitol? Can a private citizen decide to fire his attorney general? The answer is obviously no. Those are obviously presidential actions. And the fact that Jack Smith included presidential actions as predicate facts in his bogus January 6th criminal indictment of President Trump shows you how dumb Jack Smith is. He got hoisted by his own petard here.
It's really amazing, and the nut jobs over in on MSNBC have been really, which is hilarious because, of course, as we said at the earlier segment, the very same people have all been screaming at me for making a statement about how I'm going to end democracy by stripping the candidates off the ballots and locking up opponents and locking up journalists and protesters. But of course, no, we are the ones who are allowed to do that, not you.
Yeah, nothing screams democracy like impeaching the president twice, indicting your political opponent, who's the likely president again 4 times for non-crimes, illegally, unconstitutionally gagging him several times. When that backfires, we're trying to bankrupt him for non-fraud in New York and with Jean Carroll's nut job defamation case. And then when that all backfires, when the American people want to put Trump back in office on November 5th, 2024, nothing screams democracy like just taking him off the ballot because Democrats fear American voters.
And it's not even your contention that you're saying that. We've got about a minute till the break, but we had Democrats, these 2 professors, I guess, from the University of Maryland, who go on MSNBC with Mika Brzezinski yesterday saying that one of the biggest threats now to democracy in this country is, the threat to democracy. Okay, so you're worried about the voting systems. You're worried about the ballots. When I hear threat to democracy, I think election integrity. They say, no, it's white rural voters. You got these people that don't want to vote the way that we want, and they're a bunch of racists, and they're a bunch of conspiracists, and they're a bunch of extremists, and they won't vote the way that they're told. And all you angry white rural people are dangerous to democracy if you're allowed to vote. I said, wow. It's like you guys took the lesson of Hillary calling everyone deplorables, and you said, hold my beer. We're going to do one better. Coming back next, Mike Davis, Human Events Daily.
We've got your back as you start your day.
America's small towns with big convictions.
Real America isn't Wall Street greed and DC lies.
America ain't big cities and big tech.
It's the construction worker focused on building a better tomorrow.
And it's the farmer who works all year to provide for a nation.
It's the teacher that leaves politics and policy out of the classroom.
It's the soldier ready to lay down his life to defend our flag.
We have not forgotten real America.
This is real America, where we put our faith in God and our families first.
You send a message, we play to win.
Hi, this is Chris from Wisconsin, and I love Real America's Voice because they have great news and a great chat family. God bless all of you.
This is Diane from Rhode Island. Why do I love Real America's Voice? Because they deliver us facts from hosts who love America and love God. What's not to like?
I'm Lou, MAGA pilot from Rob's Getter Shot, here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Hi, this is Chris from Wisconsin, and I love Real America's Voice because they have great news and a great chat family. God bless all of you.
When I'm working long hours, I'm always listening to Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
All right, Jack Posobiec back live, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Look, Mike Davis, I'm not even sure what needs to be said at this point, but Fani Willis, the goose is cooked in Fulton County. At this point, it's kind of just sitting back and laughing. I mean, this thing seems like it's completely over. Am I missing anything, or is that basically the case down there?
Big Fanny is in big trouble, and she's toast down in Georgia. This case is done. She had an illegal financial stake in a criminal prosecution, which is absolutely unethical and illegal. She lied about it. She had her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, lie about it. They submitted a false affidavit to the courts where they had 8 other attorneys from the Fulton County DA's office put their name on a filing when Fani Willis and Nathan Wade knew that the affidavit was false. They are toast. Not only should they get disqualified and the office get disqualified, Fani and Nathan Wade should be disbarred. They should be prosecuted. This is unacceptable what they've done here. They have politicized and weaponized their office to take out political opponents, and they've gotten rich off of it. $700,000 and counting has gone to Nathan Wade. She paid Nathan Wade to meet with the Biden White House, including the White House counsel, before they brought this bogus RICO indictment. This is clear collusion with the Biden White House, with this corruption, with this corrupt prosecution.
So, and that's the way I say it. By the way, all huge credit, by the way, to the great Mike Roman of Northeast Philly. This is a guy, devout Catholic, 8 kids up there, private investigator. What can I say? You don't mess with Philly conservatives. This is what's going to come of it. But they say I don't know if you heard this, Davis, but they say that Philly conservatives are not only the smartest, but also the best looking. I don't know if you heard that before.
Well, I have a face for radio, so I can't argue with you on that one. But the smartest, you're probably right on that too.
Now, when it comes to these cases, let's go a little bit north of Philly here for a moment, because one of the ones that we haven't heard a lot from the media or anybody yet is Alvin Bragg, and it seems like they're trying to sleepwalk their way into this. As we said, today's March 1st. That jury is supposed to begin selection this very month. What are we to look for there?
Yeah, so that trial is starting on March 25th, I believe. And remember, this is the worst case of them all, of the Democrat lawfare. Even the Democrats are running and hiding from this one. They have charged President Trump, a former president, for the first time in American history for the non-felony of a businessman settling a nuisance claim. And they tried to trump those up, pun intended, and bring multiple felony charges under a bogus legal theory that the prior Manhattan DA, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Alvin Bragg himself declined to prosecute. It wasn't until Matthew Colangelo got sent from the number 3 office in the Biden Justice Department to resurrect this zombie case against Trump. This is part of the Democrats' lawfare and election interference, but this is the biggest dog of them all, and they're starting with their worst case. When the American people tune into this case and see how bogus it is, I think this is going to have even a bigger backlash than what we're seeing right now in the polls. If Democrats think they're going to imprison Trump, the leading presidential candidate, before November 5th, 2024, the American people are going to have a big say in response.
No, I agree with you on that, and I certainly think that they've kind of shot their wad when it comes to these New York cases, because you've already had this ridiculous case with E. Jean Carroll, you have this ridiculous fraud case, and so this just kind of feels like it's another one in a series of ridiculous New York-related cases. That being said, it is the first criminal trial, and I'm sure the media, the Democrats, are going to make much ballyhoo of this. From a legal strategy perspective, look, I don't think it goes out saying that, they're going to New York, they're going to get a liberal jury. It'd be the same kind of jury that Doug Mackey had in New York, the same kind of jury that any Republican, Peter Navarro or Steve Bannon or Roger Stone, had here in Washington, D.C. But as a legal strategy, do you think there's a possibility, and I've heard some chatter about this, of them trying to knock off that felony charge? Because it really seems like this felony charge is hanging by a thread, and knock that down to a misdemeanor.
Yeah, I mean, they should do a dismiss on the felony charge, because it's a joke of a legal theory. It's a legal theory, like I said, that was not even considered before Trump was running for re-election in 2024. This is lawfare. This is election interference. And the American people are going to be very angry when they see Alvin Bragg, the Soros-funded Manhattan DA, trying to take away the choice from American voters, the president of the United States, by putting him in prison under a bogus theory that they've never brought in the history of our country. And they've never brought an indictment ever against a former president. Look what, I mean, like you said, Jack, look what they're doing in New York, the first indictment ever for this non-felony. They've changed the statute of limitations so Jean Carroll, who's lying through her teeth, can bring a bogus defamation lawsuit to try to bankrupt Trump. You had New York Attorney General Tish James, Big Tish, go to this Democrat Manhattan goofball judge Arthur Engoron, and he ruled before the trial even began, before any witnesses or any other evidence, that Trump somehow committed fraud when he paid back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full, on time, as agreed, with interest. And then they imposed, Tish James and Arthur Engoron imposed this nearly $500 million, $500 million penalty on Trump that is clearly unconstitutionally punitive. This is Big Tish, who inappropriately campaigned on the fact that she's going to get Trump. And then she made, Elise Stefanik did a bar complaint where Tish James made over 50 extrajudicial improper statements during the first 5 weeks of the trial before Elise Stefanik stopped counting. This is lawfare. Look, if the Supreme Court does not fix this lawfare, we're going to lose our country. These are republic-ending tactics.
But remember, they're the only ones who are allowed to end democracy. When I say I'm going to end democracy, oh no, everything blows up. Everyone's hair goes on absolute fire. Mike Davis, where can people go to follow you? Where can people get all the information coming out on these ridiculous cases?
Article3project.org, article number 3project.org. Donate there and go to the action page. And that's where we can get you guys involved on these different matters, including with Tish James, including with Fannie Willis down in Georgia.
Well, look, guys, you got to go support Davis. I'm telling you, he over at the Article 3 Project, we bring him on here. I could throw any question at him. We don't really prep for these very much. He is on top of it. That's why you must go and support the Article 3 Project. Folks, we are in a war for the future of our nation. We're in a war for the future of our children. Do